Friday night, I've listened to the press conference. I've done myself a little bit of a review for the Rotherham game, ready to go out tomorrow, so I'm all done and I'm all free to sit down and enjoy my evening. And so I've had tea, wash pots, and I'm like, time to get snuggled down on settee, get camped in. And then I've done this little video about Danny Rill's press conference earlier, and I thought I'll just check a few comments. And then I saw a comment at the bottom, mentioned Embargo. And I thought, funny this internet, innit? Because this happens now and again. You can go on a forum or Facebook or YouTube, whatever, and now and again it'll put a comment on that somebody posted 3 or 4 years ago, and it comes up as if it's a fresh one today. So I thought, okay, it's funny that, isn't it? And then I sat there and I mean, it is Wednesday, innit? I'll just check Twitter. Oh, fuck's sake. There's always something in there. There's always something with this club. New manager comes in. Everybody's like, oh, this kid talks a lot of sense. And suddenly, after a really bad start to the season, even though we're still losing, performances, we're all going, oh, hang fire. This is a lot better. Can see what we're trying to do. There's a plan. There's an actual plan. Front foot attacking football. Then we've got a huge game this weekend. Massive 6-pointer against Rotherham. Everybody's up for it. Can't wait to get in there. Friday night. Embargo. Again. Now what's it mean? Well, it's going to resonate in several ways, isn't it? At the most basic level, though, it means we can't sign anybody. Now, I know people are going to say, well, we can't sign anyone anyway, transfer window's shut. But it means we can't even now sign any free transfers, which Danny Rill was actually talking about earlier. We can't even sign Marvin Johnson, even though he's training with lads, and Danny Rill's been talking about getting him involved with first team again. Can't even sign him now, even though he's been at club for 3 years. Can't sign anyone until this tax bill to HMRC is paid off. 173. Consequences of a default event. Without prejudice to the general position pursuant to Regulation 44.4, that all registrations must be approved by the League and subject to Regulation 17.3a, a club which is subject to a default event shall be subject to a registration embargo such that it shall not be permitted to register any player with that club without the prior written consent of the League for the period that the club is subject to a default event. So, according to that, Danny Rill can't sign any free transfers, or even Marvin Johnson, who's been at club for 3 years, is training with lads every day, can't even register him now until this is paid off. Now the good news is, good news, clubs are obliged to tell the EFL when there's a failure to pay the taxes within 2 days of them not paying it. So, in theory, Wednesday must have alerted the EFL that they hadn't paid it, which means that we're only 2 days into a 30-day window, which would see us incur further embargoes for the next 3 transfer windows, which means Danny Rill won't be able to sign anybody on a free transfer at the minute, or Marvin Johnson or whatever, or in January, or in the summer, or even Christmas, New Year, 24-25 season. So, as far as it goes, we have to presume that Wednesday's alerted EFL this week, so there should still be 20-odd days left before we trigger the next thing, which means we can't sign anyone in the next 3 windows. However, it's yet another sign that things aren't being run properly behind the scenes. And as ever, whenever there's any good news at Wednesday in regards to things on the pitch, like we've got a new manager who's forward-thinking, positive, we've already seen, despite the results, we've already seen a positive change in our approach to the games against Watford and Plymouth the other night. Getting forward, attacking, having a go at teams, trying to win ball back further up. So whenever there's a positive, there's always a negative that comes with it with Wednesday. And it's always something off the pitch. Over the last 25 years, every misstep that Wednesday's made, it's always decisions off the pitch that are costing us more. The timing of it is terrible. We've got a massive game this weekend against Rotherham, a relegation 6-pointer. It's the manager's first game in charge of the club at home. He's desperate to get everybody behind the team. We're desperate for the result, wants everybody in a positive mood going into the ground, and then this drops. Now some fans are talking about a protest, and understandably so, because the club lurches from one potential disaster to another, and it's all the decisions of one man. I mean, who's running the ship? We ain't got a chief operating officer. Dooley's left, he's gone to Shrewsbury Town, a step up. A better role, probably a more stable club was the main factor there, I'd imagine. The chairman's at home. Who's running the ship? We're rudderless at the minute. And as I said, whenever there's anything good on the park, there's always a negative off the park. Fans are talking about protesting, but all that's going to happen there is there's going to be a clash. Because we've got a new manager, we're playing more positively, everybody will want to get behind the team this weekend, massive 6-pointer, and anyone who protests is going to get shouted down. And it's classic 101, divide and conquer, divide and rule. Setting supporters against each other. It's always a shit show. I think some sort of protests do need to be made, because it's the 4th time we've been in embargo, if you include the soft embargo the other year. Whatever the fuck a soft embargo is. We lurch from one disaster to another. There were rumours the other week about the players' wages being paid by a third party. There were rumours about stewards and gate people not being paid. There's always something rumbling on in the background. For serious change to happen, Wednesday supporters have got to come on together under one umbrella and said this ain't good enough. For a club of this size, with this fan base, with 20,000 fans going through gates every single week, this ain't good enough. As a business, it's not been run in the correct manner. Doing that is difficult though, because of the situation that we're in the league. People want to be positive, people want to back the team, and people who have a go at the chairman, there seems to be a conflation that if you're having a go at the chairman, you're having a go at the club. There's too many people in the fan base for it to be joined up thinking, and that's a shame, because whatever that happens, it allows people to treat us like we've been treated. Awful timing. As I said, at the moment, potentially we're only a couple of days into this thing, but if it happens twice within a 12-month period, those days are added up. So it's not just... If, for example, we go 10 days into this debt that's owed to the taxman, and then we do it again with some other tax or some other payment that's due that we don't pay, those days are then added to it as well. Is this just one of many? It makes you wonder who else might not have been paid. We just lurch on from one disaster to another. Fan set against fan, it's a right mess. And just when, on the park at least, we thought things were steadying out a little bit, there's always a drama with this club. It's carry on Wednesday. Somebody said to me the other week, he's brought in a manager who you wouldn't think Wednesday would be able to get. One of the top coaches in Europe, one of the most exciting young coaches in Europe. Brought in England's assistant manager as a club assistant. Brought in a sports psychologist from Manchester United. It's a smokescreen. I said, what do you know about smokescreen? Doesn't it seem as odd we're suddenly doing things right? Suddenly doing things properly and positively and getting fans on side. Doesn't that strike you as odd? I went, well, just running a club properly, innit? Maybe we're eventually doing it. But now I'm starting to wonder, is it a smokescreen? Because honestly, anyone who's thinking about protesting Sunday, you're about short on curlies, aren't you? because there will be enough people in there who'll threaten to cave your head in because it's new gaffer's first game and you're not getting behind lads. And divide and conquer. That one. Divide and rule. The timing is absolutely shite. But then that shouldn't surprise us.